Hello and welcome to the Greenhouse Success video series. Now this is the special series Greenhouse Construction, and this is part 2. And today we're going to learn about how to put in the foundational groundwork for the greenhouse floor. So the floor of the greenhouse needs to be able to drain water away so that you don't have pure mud to walk in all the time. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to kind of level the ground. So we are level in our building here from east to west, but we're sloping to the south. And we did that on purpose so that we could get the drainage to the south. So as we're watering or whatever, everything is running out the south and away from the building. All right, so the next part of our floor, so we're leveled east to west, we're sloping to the south, is we brought in some road base. So this is 3/4 inch road base, and basically it's sand and gravel, anything 3/4 and smaller. And it's about 2 inches thick, but we've been driving on it with a tractor, so it's not real level right now. But what happens with the road base is that it will firm itself underneath the weed barrier, and it's going to give us a good solid floor to walk on, but yet the water can still drain through it. So I really like the road base on top of the dirt. So our dirt here is just pure clay. So we have the clay, dirt, and then we have the road base. So this will, like I say, we'll get it all nice and even once we stop the construction of the sides and stuff like that. All right, so we have the earth, the clay soil, now we have the road base. Next is the weed barrier. So once we're done constructing, we'll smooth out the road base, and then we're going to put the weed barrier on. So my favorite weed barrier is the DeWitt Pro 5. It's a woven weed barrier, and as you can see, it's very thick, very heavy. I'll put a link in the description below if you would like more information on this. So I've had this weed barrier in my oldest greenhouses, and it's still holding up even after we've walked on it for 40 years. I love this stuff. I love the fact that it has the stripes on it so that I can orient my beds and stuff like that. So the weed barrier, it helps to keep grass and perennial plants from coming up out of the earth through the road base and up into my grow beds. So it's really important to have this break between the earth and the grow beds. If you were to just lay out plastic on here, it would just make you in the swimming pool, because there's so much water that goes into watering the plants, and the plastic would just hold the water. So with the woven design, the water will go through, but the plants can't come up through. Now there is another type of weed barrier on the market, and it's this one. And as you can see, it's a lot thinner. You can kind of see through it. And it is more of like a felted weed barrier. And this one is not good for the application that we're wanting to use it in. This one will actually deteriorate after about 2 years, and it's not going to hold up for you. So go ahead and spend a little extra money and get some of the really heavy-duty professional weed barrier. You're going to thank yourself a million times over, because it works so well to just help with the weed problem and the water, getting the water to run through. All right, the next consideration on the preparation for the floor of the greenhouse is whether you're going to do grow beds or benches. And I like to construct my grow beds right on top of the weed barrier. So we'll be constructing those after the building is finished. Or if I'm going to put in just benches, I like to have about a 1 inch layer of 3/4 inch screened gravel, so it doesn't have all of the sand and the small pebbles in it. It's just 3/4 inch. And I like to put that under the benches. So what that does is that helps drain. You're going to water the plants, the water's going to drain onto the floor, and then it'll drain through the 3/4 inch gravel really quickly, and then to the weed barrier and on down. But that gives you a nice floor to have under the bench to help dissipate the water. So I don't think I'll be putting any benches in this greenhouse. I may change my mind later, but for the aisles between the grow beds, I can just leave them as weed barrier, or I can gravel them Yeah, I've done both, and they both have their good and bad points. So if you get soil in your gravels, then annual weeds can grow in the gravel and you'll end up having to weed the aisles. And if you just go with the weed barrier, you're going to end up sweeping the excess dirt off of the weed barrier so that you don't have the same problem getting weeds to grow on top of your weed barrier. So in either case, you know, the weeds, even if they're in the gravel or they're grown on top of the weed barrier, they pull up easily because the weed barrier is underneath them and the roots get really thin before they go through the weed barrier and they snap off right where the weed barrier is. So another great reason to have the weed barrier there. So I have my floor plan, but I will not be implementing it until the construction is done, except for the road base. It's in place so we can work even if it rains. And it did actually rain. We got like an inch of rain a couple days ago, so we were very thankful to have our road base in place. All right, so in part 3, we're going to go over how to put in the ground stakes so that the building will be straight and secure. Thanks for watching.